So it is 2:32. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be available on the replay. I'll send that out hopefully tomorrow so that if we like go too fast or you just need to see something again, you'll be able to do that. So let us get started. We are going to get organized in our Google Drive. I am Susanna, as I think I know most of you, if not hello. And let's take a look at our rules, our norms for our time together. I'm hoping you will be present. I know we are all crazy busy. You've got 1,000 bajillion things going on, but hopefully you can take this time for yourself. Ask questions, please. I am here to help. If I'm going too quickly, please just shout out and ask. There will be time at the end, but do not feel like you have to wait until the end to ask questions. Share what works for you. If you have a trick that helps you with your Google Drive to stay organized, please jump in and share it. Be willing to try. I hope everybody is able, either with a second device or splitting their screens so that they are in their drive at the same time and we can work as we go along. And of course, give yourself time to practice with this. Like, as with like cleaning and organizing, it's just going to take some time. So hopefully you'll use that time while we're here together to like frantically get your files in order. I know I plan to as well, because I have let mine get a little bit out of control since we have been in the crazy times, as I like to call them. So give yourself that time while we're together to just do that. All right, so our areas of focus for today, we are going to look at layout and naming, what you can do in just naming your files to help keep them organized. We're going to look at color coding. I am a huge fan of color coding. I like things. It helps me very quickly figure out what something is about. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to look at your priority materials and workspaces. This helps me so very much because I have files in different places, but I have like 6 or 7 files that I need to look at every single week and usually every single day. So I can put them in a workspace so that I can quickly get to them, whether it's like an attendance check-in, whether it's a participation check-in, whatever document you're using multiple times. This is a way to like keep you from having to like dig through the files to find it. Shared drives, that is not your shared with me folder. Shared drives is especially used at the high school level for lesson plans. And it is a great way to collaborate with others so that you never lose the documents should someone leave. Number 5 is the dreaded shared with me folder. I hate it with a passion. I ignore it. But I'm going to show you a way that you can find things in it without having to look at it. This causes me unending stress because those aren't your files. You can't really do anything with them. And it's just a nightmare in there. So I try to, these are my little tips for avoiding having to even dig and scroll through there. And then last but not least will be our Q&A session. All right. So first up is the layout and naming of your folders. So you have a couple of options for your layout. You have either grid view or list view. It is very personal. Folks are very passionate about which one they prefer. I am on team grid view all the way, but I know there are some folks that prefer having a list. I just can't handle all that. Even on like a website, if I'm shopping, I want a grid of all the options. I don't want to see like the one by one list, but it's very, very personal. So find a layout system that works for you, whichever one you prefer, that's the best for you. The other option, and the other thing to consider, is that Google likes to sort things first through numerical order and then through alphabetical order. So if you want to keep things in order, you want to start a numbering system before an alphabetical system. So always do 2 digits, so 0, 1 or 0, 0, and continue from there and then in alphabetical order. And that way that supersedes alphabetical order. However, if you have a file that is Super important. You always want that at the top, and you don't want to give it that special number. You can put a period in front of the name, and that automatically boots that to the top. So you're probably wondering, Susanna, what on earth are you talking about? We're going to take a look at that. So using those numbers will like automatically pop it to the top. You can also add emojis into your files and folders. So for our upper elementary who are using Google Classroom, if you have something that you're going to share with your students, you can put an emoji in it in the doc to give them a clue as to what it's about. You can also do that when you assign it in Google Classroom. But you can also name your folders for that. If you prefer pictures in addition to color, you can add that as well. Like say you have a collection of online books, whatever that is, and you just want all of your books, or it's science and you come up with an emoji for just your science. So it's very quick visually. These are all your science files, or these are all your writing files, or these are all your reading files. Very easy to do that. And there is a great website that I love called Emojipedia. And it lets you quickly just find an emoji that you want and copy it quickly. So let's go into what that looks like. I know you guys all have tons of folders. So for a folder, if you already have an existing folder and you want to start practicing with that naming convention, all you need to do is right click. If you're on a Mac, it's control click, and it will pop up this menu. When you click on that menu, you have lots of choices. Of course, you can share it with someone. You can add a shortcut to your drive. You can actually now search within that folder, which is super awesome. You can find the location, but you can also rename that folder. From there, you can give it a name. So I've taken this folder and I have renamed it with a emoji so that it will help me remember what it is. Not that I necessarily forget, but I also like pictures because I'm a visual person. So let's take a look at that, shall we? You guys are going to get to see my drive, so don't judge me too much. So here is my drive. You'll notice some things already have that naming convention with the period at the beginning. Some of those are shared folders that have been shared from other folks so that I need those at the top, which is why they have a period in front of them. Then it defaults to the name of the emoji. So that's why you could still, and I'll open it here. I am going to rename, and I'm going to put an 03. So that now it has changed the order of where it is. How are we doing? Check in. Cool. And our folks who are just joining us, you guys are getting to look at my drive, but we have talked about how to name different folders within your Google Drive and how that allows you to sort the order. Google prioritizes numbers before letters. So if you have something numbered with 01 or 00, it's going to come before something that starts with the letter A. As you can see in mine, all things Google comes after 02. So that's one way you can name your files to keep them in order. The other option, which will override completely either numbers or alphabet, so save that for your absolute top priority folders that you need to find over and over, that would be putting a period just before whatever number or letter, because that automatically, as you can see, overrides and boots it to the top of the drive. All right. So now my favorite thing, we are going to look at color coding. So I have in my my brain some colors that I know that work for me. Obviously, this will be for you to set up with what colors work for me. I have all my things that are Google in a dark blue. All of my things that are my personal kind of files that I don't need for school stuff, but it might be like my sick leave forms, things like that are a teal green. That just works for me. And then things to go with different schools are also color coded based on the school. So whatever works for you. When I was in the classroom, orange was always social studies. So my social studies files were always orange because the kids got an orange dot sticker for their social studies notebook. And so that's how we kept everything organized. In order to change the color, you are limited in your color choices. I wish we could go more, but we can't. This is again on that folder. You right click on the folder, and then that option under rename is change color. And from there, you get those color choices. And you can change these as you go. I have like all of my project things and projects that I'm working on are all pink. So the main folder is pink, and then everything in that folder, all the folders in the subfolders in there are also pink, so that I just keep that straight and know where those are. So go ahead now, give it a shot. I know you have a folder in there somewhere. If not, you can go to File and New to make a new one. And remember, we are in this My Drive section right now. We are not going to this awful place yet called Shared with Me. We are going to save that for next to last because that's the scary place. But in My Drive, this is where your stuff lives. And how are we doing? Give me a thumbs up. I know we have jumped right in. You can use your little reactions. You can just give me a, if your camera's off, if your camera's on, you can just give me a thumbs up. How's it going? Awesome. Feel free to use the chat too. Excellent. So you're probably wondering about moving around all of those files that aren't sorted. Your Google Drive defaults to your folders are on top. And then underneath that, I have a lot of folders. I have a very large amount of folders. And I can change at any time my view. So if I click this little icon here, I can just change that to the list view again. But again, as I've said, I am not a fan of the list view, but I know people who are. And if that's what you need to stay organized, if that's how you prefer your view, please keep that. I am definitely on team grid view though. You can also get some quick information about a folder. So this is the whole drive, but if I click on that folder with the I button extended, it shows me all of the history of what's happened in that folder since the last few weeks or days. So that's also something very helpful. But let's talk about moving files, those ones that haven't been sorted yet. And what's the best way to do with files when you get them. Don't mind Alexa, she needs to connect to the internet. All right, so I have this file right here. I found it fair and square on Bitmoji for educators in Facebook. And I did not sort it anywhere. So I'm going to right click on that folder, that file, and from there I can organize it. I have some options here without having to do anything. I could click and drag it around, but by right clicking on it, I can just click move to and get a list of folders in my drive where I want it to live. So I can click and drag it to a folder and then open up that folder and then drag it to another folder within that. Or I can just, again, right click on it, or if you're on a Mac, it's control click and pull up my list of folders. So I'm actually going to put this here because I do have a folder for makerspaces. And I'm going to just move it there. So very easily, very easily. Now there is one other option because Google doesn't want to limit you to just one way to do something. If I come over here on my left-hand side of my screen, next to where it says my drive, there's a little triangle with another menu. When I click that triangle, it then opens up all of my folders that I have available. So here's that projects folder. If I click that triangle, it then opens up all of my subfolders. So then I can very easily get to, and that goes in down at the bottom. Right here, I want it to go in this folder right here because that student was in the news crew last year. I'm going to move her into this folder so I can also drag it that way so that you can either use the side menu to drill down into whatever folders to move, or you can right click and drill down from the little pop-up that way. So you have a couple of options for moving files around in your drive, because the ultimate goal is to have only folders in your main drive so that then everything is sorted and in a home. That's what I like to do because I tend not to scroll down. If it's not in a folder, I don't tend to go down and look at it. So I really try to get items in a folder as soon as I create it. And one of the best ways to do that is to go to a folder before you create the document. So wherever you want something to live in Google Drive, instead, I know we have the option to just type in or come over to the top and click and start a new doc here. You have that option. But the best way I've found to stay organized is to go to the folder where I want something to live and create it. And I can double click here. While I'm in here, then click new. And choose what I would like to create so that it's already living where it belongs. That's the easiest, best way to make it, because I know for me, once I start a document, I'm not going to remember before I close it, since it saves automatically, to just go back and like, oh yeah, I need to move it to this place. So for me, I want to start where I want it to live and then make it. That's just my number one tip for making sure, like, just default start with things organized. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I know if you're like me, you have some files that now you're like, yes, I want to move them. So practice both of these ways, taking some of those files that are in your main drive. And we are going to talk about that shared with me folder coming up, I promise. Because I know a lot of teachers, when you share resources with each other, they end up there. But we're going to talk about that in just a second. So just take a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes, some of the folders in your drive. Think about your color coding system, what works for you. Think about maybe something you're already using in the classroom. And go ahead and practice making some folders, some different colors, renaming. And I can show you real quick Emojipedia. It's just emojipedia.org. You can take your, I'm going to look for books. You just take whatever emoji you want. Blue book, I like that one. Click the copy button. It'll tell you it's been copied. And then when you go to make the name of your folder, that's when you paste it. Either type what the name of the folder is and then put the emoji, or do it before. It's your preference. It's your drive. So, but it's kind of fun to have pictures and mix it up and make it at least a little bit more personalized. So a couple more minutes, maybe 3 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes. And of course, if you have questions, please ask. You don't have to wait until the end.
question.
Sure.
Okay, if I want to delete something, but
Yeah.
I don't own it and like it says it'll be deleted from everybody else, how do you get it out of like the way?
Okay. So my recommendation for that, because that always causes me a complete and total panic because I do not want to delete someone else's files.
Right.
I have a folder and it is at the bottom and I have named it Z trash. Z, so it's the last thing to show up, and trash because I don't want to delete it for someone else, but I don't want to look at it either.
Okay.
And so I just put it in there.
Okay, got it.
And then out of sight, out of mind.
Let me make that.
Yes. Yeah, because that's one, like that panicky feeling when you go to put it in your trash and it's like, this will be deleted for everyone.
I'm sure I've done that a lot.
And they'll let you know because I've done it and I've gotten the message. But yeah, that's my solution to that, which is a great question, Ann Audrey, of just like that way you don't have to look at it, but you have neat, nice folders that are organized. All right, how are we doing? I see you frantically. I see you all just looking at your screen, whether it's another screen or the one you're on. It's great.
Suzanne,
Yes, sir.
and I just for my sanity here, you said not. So if I did not have a folder that I wanted to move something into, this is where I would just create new. Go to new, hit the plus, and create that folder, and then
Yes, sir.
my stuff into.
You are exactly correct.
Okay, thank you.
And you can create folders within folders. There is no limit to the rabbit hole you can go down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I accidentally did that. Yes, and now it takes me like 4 clicks to get to my lesson plans.
Oh no. Well, you can always move that out by using the menu on the side or
Okay.
right clicking on it and moving that folder up a level.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And then also, or that's where workspaces would come in handy as well. So if you don't want to, although since you have the time and we're allowing ourselves the time to do this right now, you can definitely do that. Or I'm going to show you the workspaces option, which it's my new favorite thing for my drive, because then I don't have to dig down the rabbit hole for those things that I use all the time. So that was our little timer. Our time is up for just this little bit of practice. So let us move to workspaces because I do really like this. So a workspace, you can have, I believe, up to 8 different workspaces. So you could have a math, if you are elementary and you're teaching all 4 subjects, you could have a math workspace, a science, a reading, and a history workspace. If you are secondary, you could have a block 1 workspace, a block 2 workspace, depending on how many preps you have. So it's a really nice option. If you have some like morning stuff that you have to take care of every day, it's great. If any sort of like repetitive files that you're always going to, this workspace is perfect. And it's the little icon with a check, and it's actually at the top of the left-hand side. So that workspace lets you put frequently used files in just one little section, and you can have up to 25 together. So on my drive, that looks like, it says priority. It's that little check space. And it will show you some of your most frequently used files at the top. And that just defaults to ones that it's seen you open a lot. Like if you have your like morning meeting / calendar that you do every single day, that will probably be there. And for some reason, it's being a little slow. There we go. So it'll have some of the most recent things that you've used. And then you have a space for workspaces and a button to create a new one here. When you click that create button, you can give it a title for whatever works for you. And I'll just show you, we'll do sample. Maybe it's your morning meeting resources. Maybe it's your Monday resources. However you organize your day or the significant files that you keep using over and over. And then it asks you to start adding files to your workspace. So it's kind of recommending for me which ones that it thinks I might want because I use them a lot. But I can choose other files from my drive to easily add to that. So I know all of us, we have like some regular files we use every single day when we're with kids, whether it's like our morning meeting slide deck. It's I have a Jamboard I use every day with the kiddos that I work with. So that is on mine. That I've hidden. And I have some hidden workspaces. Well, I thought I didn't. Maybe I didn't. So you can see I have some like for Maker Club that I do on Tuesdays. These are all the things that I use over and over. I have our list. I have our website that I add new files to that we record. I have our slide deck from last week and the one coming up for next week. So these are just things that I know I'm going to be working on that I quickly dump into one place. And you can very easily edit by clicking on the 3 dots. So you can either rename it, hide it, or remove it. When you click view workspace, it will take you to those options and you just double click on that file and it's right there for you to be easily opened. Any questions about workspaces? How might you consider using this? Will you use it? Do you think it's something that will be helpful for you?
Susanna, is it possible to share a workspace with someone? Say you work with somebody writing lesson plans. Can you share the workspace so you can both be working in the same one or no?
No, I do not see where that is an option. Other than like if you guys share the files and they make their own workspace, but that's a really good idea. I really like that idea. And that would be for that, see this question mark that I'm clicking on right here? You have the option to send feedback to Google. That would be a really good suggestion to send to them. Anytime you see that little question mark, whether it's in Jamboard or Slides or Drive, click on that question mark, click that send feedback. And if you have a suggestion, give it, because the more people who suggest it, they're more likely to incorporate that. And if you've thought of it, I know other folks have too, because you guys are using these resources. And I see the things that we want when I go to these Google educator groups on Facebook. where it's people from all over the world who use Google for teaching, and they're asking for the same things that come up. So definitely send that feedback, because that's a great idea to be able to share a workspace with someone that you collaborate with. Okay. So this is definitely something that I've been using in the last month or so that has just made things so much easier, because if I do close down my computer and they don't restart, I have to then go through and find all those files again to open up. And this makes it so much easier. All right. Shared drives. So shared drives are where you can share with multiple owners and grant different access rights. The high school uses it for their lesson plans. I also belong to an educator group for all of the Richmond region called Gray Tech. We put out the EdTech conference. And so that's a way for us to collaborate together, because we're all in different divisions. We represent 13 different school divisions in and around Richmond. So different localities have different options to share, but this way we can have all of our files and work together in one place. So that is definitely an option for grade levels, but they're pretty easy to set up, and most of us don't use them outside of, I think, the high school for right now. So, but if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer. All right. And now this is the one, the dreaded, the one that causes me the most anxiety. And that is the shared with me folder. So this is the place when you get an email saying someone has shared with you, this is where it goes. And you all know this is the one you cannot organize. You have no control over it. And that's where all the things you need end up, because it's where your team members have shared it with you. It's where your principals shared it with you. It's where you have to find where you put your lights. It's just madness. So the best way is to manage that is to just figure out the best way to search. And I'm going to show you the sneaky peeky extra search tools. And when files get shared with you from the email that they're sent, immediately click that add to drive icon so that it automatically goes to your drive and you can manage where you're going to have it. Because really, I feel like that shared with me folder is the place where just things, I'll never find it again. So let's take a look at the best way to search in that shared with me folder. And this can be done from anywhere in your drive. You do not have, you can be in my drive and still search this way, and it will pull up everything that's ever got your name on it. So when you see this search drive, if I just start typing Valentine's Day, I just get a couple of things, right? But if I click this drop-down menu, I then get to do a lot more. I can choose the type. So if I click here, I know I'm looking for a folder. I don't necessarily want to see all the pictures or the PDFs. I know I want a folder, so I'm going to come down here and click folder. Maybe you wanted a presentation, so then you could click that. This allows you, and it will only search by whatever type that is that you've chosen. So if I choose folder, and then I can then narrow it down to the owner of that. So if you know that Dr. Behringer sent something out, a folder that she shared with everyone, but you don't know anything else, you just know it was Dr. Behringer who sent it, you can click folders, choose anyone, and you get some other choices. The default is anyone in Hopewell Public Schools. Then it's owned by you, which is also helpful because sometimes you don't know where you put the stuff that you've made. Not owned by you, or if you know the person who shared it with you, but you just don't know where it is, you can click specific person and start typing their email address. So not that Dr. Behringer has shared anything with Valentine's, but you could then change the search terms. for something. So it could say lesson plans or CIP or whatever sort of thing you want. You can also narrow down the time of when that was. You can set a custom window. If you know it was 2 months ago, you can set within the last 90 days. Then you can also change where it looks. Like it will default look everywhere, but you can say, no, I need it to scour that shared with me folder. So then it will default to that, and it will only look for those things that match those specifications. Folder shared by Dr. Behringer in the last 90 days in the shared with me folder. Boom. And so then that's going to narrow down those choices for you so that you can quickly find what you need. We'll see what pops up. Click search. Wait, she's not going to have said Valentine's Day, because let me take care of that keyword. Boom. So if this is something that I needed, say I needed this distance learning folder, I can right click on that and then quickly click add shortcut to my drive so that it's in my drive. I can see it. The triangle with the plus sign is how you quickly add whatever document you need to your drive. And then from there, you can then click. Before it finishes, it'll pop up and ask you specifically where in your drive you want it to go. So before it even does anything, you can go down the little rabbit hole of what folder you want it to live in while you're moving it over. So I think that always helps me, because I have to move things as they come in or it's gone. Okay. Does anybody want to try that? I'm sure we all have a folder in that shared, or a document or something in that shared with me file that we all could manage. The biggest thing though is that using that drop down search menu really kind of helps narrow down the tens of thousands of files that have probably been shared among the division. Like it really, really helps just kind of narrow it down. Okay, quick check-in. How are we doing? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Awesome. All right. Now, we already did the advanced searching features. Those, they really do make a huge difference, whether you're just searching things that you created or for others that have created. I find myself using them quite a bit. Okay, so now comes to our questions, burning questions, answers, something else I didn't cover that you really want to know about. What do you got for me?
I have a question.
Sure.
So in our drive, we have at Patrick Open, we have for third grade, like a third grade resources.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of that folder is no longer in the district. So we cannot share it to like newer members on our team. Is there anything we can do about that?
That is a tech support question.
Okay.
But if you ask and you let them know, like especially if you can see who the original owner of the folder was, Chris should be able to, he can work magic is all I know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And then that is, and that an instance like that is why the shared drive, that shared group drive over here where it says shared drives, that is where something like that comes in handy, because ownership it doesn't belong to that person any longer. So you can just add people as you need to, and as they come and go, and the resources stay there, and they don't, that way you have them available as people come and go.
Okay.
Which is very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions? Thoughts? Tips? Anything that you guys have done that has helped you stay organized with your drive too. Don't forget that.
I have something I want clarified.
Sure.
My assistant has a folder, me and her, well, she shared it with me. It has all my Bitmoji classrooms in it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they also show up in like the shared with me files. So they're just in two different places. Like I can delete like I tested it out. I can delete the files from like the big like screen with thousands of stuff, but it's still in my folder.
Yeah. Because you want to get rid of them?
Well, no, they're in my folder. I just see them twice. Like I want to just go to my folder, but it's also like in my documents that are just there. Because she could have shared with them. What she probably did, I think she shared them with me and then created a folder. And so that's why I'm seeing them twice.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Makes more sense.
That is probably it. Because
Well,
she shared the folder. You didn't create the folder?
She created the folder.
Okay. That is probably what happened.
Okay.
So that's where you can try deleting those, but I think you're going to get that message that you'll delete it for everybody. So that's where if you really don't want to see duplicates of it, you would just put it in that like ZZ trash folder to out of sight, out of mind, because it's already in the folder she shared with you.
Yeah, it's already in there. So.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Sure, of course, please, yay.
Okay, so how do I I don't know how to word this. I am tired of seeing assignments from kids from 2 years ago in my drive. How do I deal with that? From like Google Classroom assignments, whether it's like a document or a slide, whatever it may be. I just want my kids' assignments organized. And
did you archive the class?
I did, yeah. But I don't know why I still see their assignment.
Well, and it's in the Google Classroom folder, or just, why don't you share? Do you want to share your screen and show me?
Sure.
All right, let me stop sharing.
I guess it might be because of that classroom folder. I didn't think of that. I forgot that was a thing.
Oh, that's okay.
So this folder right here, you think because of all of the assignments, do I just
yes.
the folder then?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So these are all of the different whenever you create a Google Classroom, it makes a folder where all of the materials from that classroom live.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because what happens is, like, you in Google Classroom, you have the ability to reuse posts. So that way, say you were to do one of those projects again, and you really liked those activities, you don't need to create a new assignment. You just reuse the post from the last time.
Gotcha.
And then that's why that still lives there.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I thought you were talking about like if you're a co-teacher in a class where you see every single child who posts, and I am a co-teacher in more classes than I want to be, and I see hundreds of assignments.
Yeah.
And it's I just have to like mentally not think about that.
Yeah, I really did not know it went into a folder.
Yes, which is good, because then you don't have to go to Classroom to access their work. You can just go directly to that folder and then find the subfolder that was created for that assignment and look at their work there as well.
Yes, very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other questions, thoughts? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Leslie here. I've got a question. So I have a student, well, he was in my classroom for like 6 weeks during like a PBL thing. And he is now in 11th grade, and that boy shared one thing with me, and I get everything that child does. Is there a way for me to just block that?
That is a really good question. So he shared like a folder with you?
Yeah, let me see what it was. Cause like, so if I put his name in, I've got like so many little things from him, and oh wow. think it's multiple pages of documents from him. And I don't think that he meant to share all this with me. Oh, plus lots of folders I'm seeing. So I'm seeing lots and lots of documents, lots of folders. And sweet kid, I just don't need this stuff.
Right. And it's still in your shared with me folder, or it's somewhere in your drive?
So it'll pop up once in a while if he does something new. And I'll be
Mhm.
like, oh, great, Ethan's still kicking, great.
Right, right.
But I just searched and I put for Ethan and I put his last name and boom, I've got pages and pages and pages of stuff.
Interesting. He must be using a folder that you shared with him at some point.
Whew.
Can
All
you like look and go down like on one of those assignments and look down the rabbit hole to see where it actually lives?
Okay, Ethan.
So by right
classroom.
clicking and that like click the move button just to see the
Okay.
rabbit hole. Like if you can either stop giving him access to that or remove yourself from that.
Yeah, I don't see here. Can I share my screen?
Of course.
Okay, let me figure this out. I'm used to being on the other end. Okay, got it. All right. So, sweet little Ethan. So here's what I got. I plugged him in,
Mhm.
and booyah.
And this is like recent stuff.
Some of it is, and some of it's from 9th grade, 10th grade, 8th grade. And I haven't seen him since he was in 8th grade.
That's weird because like those at the bottom were his like Google Classroom folders.
Yeah, I've got that same issue.
And I think I do too. I'm afraid that it might be like I am a co-teacher in a couple of 5th grade classes.
Mhm.
And I get every single thing the kids do and turn in.
Yep, I'm having the same issue. So yeah, I don't know what to do with all these files either.
I just ignore them because I've managed to turn off notifications for all of the classrooms that I don't want to hear and get notifications from. But when I see it like on the side of the info, on your drive where it says info, I just ignore that. But I can ask. Unfortunately, I think it's like a thing. But that is weird that you are not you haven't been his teacher in years.
Yeah, and I'm still getting it all.
You're saying that it might have something to do with having notifications turned on for that student?
For you, Mr. Moody, if you are a co-teacher, you can turn off notifications for the classroom you're a co-teacher in.
Okay.
And so that is what that is. For Leslie, I have no idea because this kid's been out of her room for it looks like 4 years now. And she's in his current science class, his robotics class. And I'm curious. You and I might need some time one-on-one, Leslie, to see if we can figure that out.
We can do that.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other like ideas? Any other things that you're just like, I really want to know this? Angel, how you doing? I know you're working hard. I can see you. You're like going, I can see your brain like spinning and organizing. I just want to check on you.
I have so much stuff everywhere.
Yes, I know. I understand.
So it's helpful, but I think it's going to take me a little more time than.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Like mine are a hot mess.
Well, especially with, this remote learning, all of a sudden my drive exploded times a million.
Yes. And like I've been finding myself, I'll purchase things on Teachers Pay Teachers, and then I want to get it into Seesaw. And I'm like, I'm keeping it on my computer, but I also want it in my drive because some things we do in Seesaw, but some things we do collaboratively in the slides version of it because I want them to practice like inserting images and dragging. And we mix up like what we do. We'll do it in slides in class time and they'll do it in Seesaw asynchronously. So like I got it all over. I hear you. I feel you. So just trying to organize, make myself create the folder and upload it to the folder. Those are my that is my mission and has been for the last like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I don't know how long. But yeah, well, I'm glad you gave yourself this time to even work on it. Like, I'm glad that like, I appreciate you taking like and using this. So any other questions? I think Google organization is just a matter of allowing yourself time because we get so caught up with everything else that has to get done that it's really, really hard to justify like, I'm going to sit here and spend an hour getting this cleaned up when you have so many other things you have, you know, to reevaluate what you're going to do for the next day. You have to plan, you have to contact parents. Like, I get it. It is such a struggle to allow yourself this time. So I'm glad you guys did that. Any other before we go? Any burning questions I did not answer? And Audrey, I expect to see your gorgeous, beautiful drive with your amazing organization.
Oh, you know it.
I was a little nervous that you signed up. I was like, oh my God, she's so organized. He's going to see my drive and how organized.
I really just search. I just type it in. I really just try not to stress myself and look. I feel like if I type it in, like I'll find it somewhere.
Right. I do want to like have things. I love the color coding.
Mm-hmm.
I love having pictures. Like, that's my next goal, is to start putting pictures so I can quickly see if it's reading stuff, if it's math stuff, if it's
Right.
maker stuff, if it's like, because I still don't always get everything color coded, but I do like it because it makes it so I can quickly find it.
Right. No, you're right.
Yeah. But yay, hopefully this helps.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I am so glad you chose to spend your afternoon. Let's all fingers crossed for snow day tomorrow. I'm very disappointed at the 38 degrees and rain that we have currently in Hopewell, but I am hopeful that temperatures will drop. I will be sending out the replay for everyone. It'll be on the second slide when I share out the slide deck, along with the link to get your PD points. Make sure you fill out the survey that comes with it, because I'm going by who fills out the survey as to who I add into Talent Ed. And your certificates that if you participated, will be in Talent Ed. At least I hope, if it works the way that they promised me it would. So, but hopefully that helps. And again, if you guys ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Oh, let's see, Sharon, let me pull up the chat. Oh, I can show you right now how to add the emojis. Yes, I will show that right now. So let me share my screen. Let's see, I'm gonna stop sharing your screen, Leslie. I will share my screen. Oh gosh, what's happening? There it is. Okay. So I am at emojipedia.com right here, and there's my book Emoji, or org. I'm sorry. And the link to this website is in the slide deck. I use it for everything. I use it for Seesaw assignments for the kids. I've used it in Google Classroom assignments. You can use it in Google Docs for kids that are getting shared out in classroom, just to kind of give them a clue. Plus, who doesn't like a picture? I mean, we're all visual these days. So I'm going to hit copy, and that's all you have to do is click that button, search in whichever one you want. They have the little bar. It's just like all the emojis on your phone. Come back to your drive. And I am going to go to my drive. And I will change this one. So I'm going to right click on that folder. I am going to click on rename. And when that pops up, I am going to all I'm going to do is hit control. I use the command keys. So you can either right click on your mouse and paste it, but I just do on a Dell, it's control C to copy and control V to paste. But on a Mac, it's command V. And then that pastes that emoji right here. And then I can click OK. So shortcuts are super helpful, the desktop shortcuts. So control C copies, control V pastes. So you highlight something and hit control C, you put your cursor down and hit control V, that pastes it. Highlight something in control X and it will cut it away from you very quickly so that you don't have to click and drag and then do whatever. So but that's all you do, Sharon, with that is you go to your book, your Emojipedia, and there are other free emoji ones. I just like Emojipedia the best. I like the choices they give you. And it's super easy where you just click copy. Once you click on the actual icon and just click copy and it does it. So, and then paste it. Hopefully does that help, Sharon? Good. Yay. I'm so excited. Everybody's going to have like emojis and color in their drives, and it's going to be so fun. All right. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I thank you so much for your time. If you do think of questions, like please don't hesitate to email me. Just shoot me an email and I'll get you the answer. And it might, this actually came as a suggestion from the survey. Like I always ask like what else you would like PD on. So please share that, something you've thought about. I guarantee you someone else has thought of it too. And I'm happy to try to figure it out and we can have a little session on that. So you guys have a great day and we're going to keep fingers crossed for snow day tomorrow. And I enjoyed seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.